How are you feeling about that?
You tell me.
It says something I can't read.
That's fine.
Okay.
Is it working for you?
Works for me.
Good. Thank you so much. Welcome to San Francisco Dharma Collective, where we understand that there are no spiritual authorities, and if you say you are one, fuck you. So, if you think I'm a spiritual authority, you're wrong. However, I can sit here and teach you to meditate a little bit, or at least help guide a meditation. So, in that spirit, I will have two demands. Don't make any noise and don't move. That's it. Do anything you want in your own mind. I don't care, but be quiet and still. Because we have Todd teaching a easy new folks class before this, we're bumping this one up to be harder. So the meditations are going to be longer, I'm going to be meaner, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you are as well. So normally we do 40-minute meditations in here, but starting last week we do 50-minute meditations, and I might just extend it to more than an hour anytime. So you're signing up for that. You can hit the lights there. Thanks. As usual, this is a guided meditation, which you can ignore. Just sit and do your, illuminated jhana, your tantric demonic invocation or whatever. Just be quiet. Otherwise, you can follow along with the guidance. So let's begin. Settle into your dhyānasana, your meditation posture, and just notice the fact of the meat. You have a body, you are a body, it's sitting there. So come out of the whatever rarefied realm of sophisticated mental operations you've been lost in all day, and just drop into feeling your butt on the cushion, your feet on the floor, the itch on your skin, whatever. Just feel that body in the simplest way possible, the most direct way possible. Remembering that we're not in yoga class, we're going to, from this point forward, be still. And we're going to sit up straight, feeling body sensations up and down the spine, noticing how attention brightens immediately when we sit up straight, and that opens up more room to breathe. And now, just for a few opening minutes here, I'd like you to breathe with pretty long in-breaths, but really long out-breaths. Like, make the out-breath long and slow. And while you're doing this part, I just want you to focus on whatever in the body feels peaceful and relaxed. So, peaceful and relaxed means still or quiet or soft or gentle, at rest, at ease. And if when I say that, your mind instantly goes to everything that's the opposite of that, that's normal, but just accept all that other stuff and come back to focusing on the things that are soft, still, quiet, at ease, peaceful, and so on. The other things you don't try to change at all, you just let them be there. If you want to, you can use a label, like a Vipassana label, such as relaxed. So you're breathing slowly with long, long, long out breaths, and you're contacting relaxed body sensations. Now I'll just completely contradict myself for the second or third time already, and I'll say, if there is extra tension in your face that you can let go of by simply voluntarily letting go of it, go ahead and do that. So any fixed expression or tightness in your face that you can just release, not by stretching or yawning, but just simply stopping doing that, then go ahead and let your face come to a deeper sense of relaxation, especially your eyes. If there's any tightness or tension in your eyes, let that go. Any tension in your mouth, just let that go. And if that brings a deeper sense or a fuller sense or a broader sense of relaxation available to contact, then contact that relaxation. The soft, peaceful, gentle, quiet stillness that's always there somewhere. We're always fighting to relax, but you never have to fight to relax. That's, in a way, idiotic. Just focus on the relaxation that already exists. And furthermore, if there's any tension, you can just voluntarily, mentally release in your arms or hands. Just go ahead and do that. So they just let go, they become limp like wet rags. Sometimes it's wet rags, sometimes it's wet seaweed, sometimes it's wet noodles, whatever. Just release all that background leftover tension in your arms and hands. And again, if that brings up a deeper or more complete or more available sense of rest and relaxation, then contact that. And just notice the peace that's already there. And then let's do the same thing with your legs and feet. Just allow that whole legs and feet complex to just go limp, totally relaxed, no tension at all. And then see if that allows you to notice even more stillness, even more peace, even more relaxation, even more openness. Our culture is in love with like a highly energized form of relaxation. Like, I'm really, really relaxed right now. God, I'm super. That's not relaxation, right? That's amped upness. This is the opposite. It's still, it's quiet, it's peaceful, soft. It's really soft. So just anything like that, just really contact it directly and clearly. Again, if it helps, you can use the label relaxed. So continuing to breathe slowly and deeply with long, long, long out breaths. And I just have you do this for a few more minutes. Good. Now let's begin doing open monitoring. So feel what it's like to be you right now. Multi-channel, full sensory spectrum experience. What are you hearing, seeing, feeling, thinking, smelling, tasting, everything? Just notice the experience of being you and continue to do that over and over and over and over and over, since each new second of being you is completely different. So there's no end to this exercise. We will bring this current part of it to an end in a little while, but it's not like someday you reach the state of really knowing what it's like to be you and it counts forever. Each moment is absolutely unique. So just keep tuning into this moment of being you with absolutely zero control. Besides being quiet and still, everything else is game. You're not trying to control thinking, you're not trying to control feeling, only have good thoughts, only have good, nothing like that. You're contacting the experience of being you in this moment. If you get lost in any narrative, come back to the new present moment. Each time you find yourself lost in a narrative fantasy, come back to the front edge of the present moment of experience. What's it like to be you right now? Good. That's what it's like to be you right now. Next, I have a very simple instruction. Whatever you're hanging on to, stop doing that. Okay? That's the entirety of the meditation instruction. Whatever you're hanging on to, just stop it. Stop hanging on to it. What does that mean? It means if you notice that you are grabbing onto a thought, relax, stop grabbing. If you notice you're grabbing onto a feeling, relax, stop grabbing it. If you notice that you're grabbing onto any sensory experience at all, attempting to hang on to it in any way, Just stop doing that and allow the mind to relax. The same thing counts for resistance, for hanging on to resisting anything. Stop doing that. Notice that in this way of working, even concentrating counts as hanging on to something. So stop doing that. In fact, in this whole way of working, there's only one thing you're just a little bit allowed to hang on to, and that's the technique, which is stop hanging on to anything. The minute you notice the mind doing its tightening, its gripping on anything, just relax the mind so it does not grip. If you relax the mind enough and you start getting lost in some kind of fantasy, that's gripping again. It takes bright, clear awareness to notice gripping. Remember to sit entirely still, no movement whatsoever. Notice that this practice involves continuous letting go. If you have a fist, when you let go, it relaxes. It's a gesture of ease. What was tight and tense, by simply not doing that, becomes relaxed. So this is very low effort. The only thing you have to do is notice tension and just relax it. Tension means gripping or holding or resisting. If you notice gripping, holding, or resisting, just stop doing that. Relax. If you're attempting to make your mind into a crystal palace of white light where only good thoughts and feelings happen, just stop that. If you're obsessed with everything that's wrong, just drop it. It may all come back over and over, that's fine. We're not trying to control it, we're just not gripping or resisting or tightening. Following any train of thought at all counts as gripping. So you can have infinite trains of thought or not stopping that, but don't grab on to any of them. If you do grab on, relax, stop doing that. Good. Now let go of letting go, unless you don't want to. But feel free to hang on to some things again if you wish, as we end the meditation. Prepare yourself for bright lights, which are coming soon. As you may have noticed as you're sitting there for that amount of time, sometimes the body gets uncomfortable. We don't like uncomfortable bodies. But with practice, you begin to notice a deeper kind of comfort with the body. It's the same thing with your mind, but the mind has a different kind of discomfort. Discomfort in the mind is when things don't make sense. It doesn't like it when things are disordered or illogical or the wrong thoughts. So we continuously attempt to avoid this discomfort in the mind. But just like with the body, if we learn to work with the discomfort in a different way and become at ease with chaos in the mind, ugliness in the mind, randomness, disorder, whatever in the mind, it's possible to reach a much deeper level of comfort. Much more comfortable than what you're trying to get out of keeping it all nice and tidy and orderly and clean. In fact, it's that need to grab onto stuff, the need to arrange stuff in there, the need to make the mind different than it is, that is the source of all the pain in your mind. The whole idea that there's something wrong with it now, and if it was different, it would feel good, is the thing that doesn't feel good. And in case you've noticed, you've been attempting really hard to order your mind for the last many decades, and it's never worked. It never made you feel good, except maybe once or twice, and that was probably an accident. And you weren't able to repeat it. And it's a completely failed experiment. You have failed with that experiment. So stop doing it. Now is the time. You have complete permission to just stop doing that. And it's not just the mind, it's everything. It's the whole mood of like, I'm going to hang on to experience and arrange experience or do something with experience to make it fit my expectations, and then I can feel good or relax or be peaceful or whatever. And actually that method just makes it worse and worse. So for example, if let's say you have the perfect meditation room and you spent a lot of time to get the floor just right and get the walls pretty and the light coming in just right, and you planted a tree outside, so you have this beautiful shade, and there's birds in the tree and all that. The more perfect you make the room, the more every little thing will bug you. Every little not perfect thing will bug the living shit out of you because you're making a perfect room. And so it's the opposite of effective. right? You cannot make a perfect room. And in fact, the effort of doing that will just drive you crazy and make you more and more sensitive to everything that's wrong all the time. And, a lot of people are meditating either because they want, everything to be perfect in their mind, like I'm going to have only good feelings and only good thoughts. Everything else is going to be driven out. Good luck with that. It doesn't work, and it will drive you nuts in the process. It's not an effective strategy. The other reason some people meditate is, annihilation. So I hate myself, I don't like my ego, there's something wrong with me, so hopefully I'll get some of this, annihilation, some cessations or something will stop, it will go away. So it's kind of another way of saying everything's wrong and I want it to stop. But things will just keep happening. Even if you do have like cessations or something, what happens when you come back? Everything starts happening again. You don't get the annihilation you want. So whether you're trying to make this kind of like perfect world inside yourself or just erase it all, you can't get that. Good luck. Please attempt to do it some more. It doesn't work. But notice both of those motivations, which totally reasonable motivations, nothing wrong with the motivation, in a way. But notice that both of them are predicated on the idea that there's something fucking wrong with you, or there's something wrong with the present moment, or things must be fundamentally fucked up. Now, the minute I start talking like this, people are like, but what about, there's like something smelly on the floor, shouldn't I clean it up? Yes. We can, in a very relative way, like, improve conditions, of course. It would be, idiotic to say anything else. But fundamentally, on the deepest level, there's nothing wrong with you at all. And if you're saying, well, you're right, except for that one little thing. No. There's nothing at all wrong with you. Just as you are right now. With your hemorrhoids and your, suicidal ideation and your whatever else. There's nothing wrong with you right now. And furthermore, fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with the world. Yes, we can clean up the floor. Yes, we can fix post-capitalism, all that. And yet, on the deepest level, there's nothing wrong with the world. At all. And one of the, for me, most interesting expressions of that realization is to just sit and not grab on to anything, not resist anything, not change anything. Right? Simply allow experience to be experience. But if you grab onto anything, now you're going to start arranging it. If you resist anything, you're already, that's all about change, control, domination, oppression, all that stuff. Most people's ideas about meditation are really fantasies of domination and control of their own mind or the world or whatever. Whether that's explicit or not, that's behind there. Like I want to make it like sane and reasonable. In the normal human way of talking about it, it's not sane and reasonable. There's a fundamental sanity that's different, but that kind of like the sanity of only the good thoughts or the right thoughts or whatever, that's not possible. And so it's interesting to just blow all that out the airlock and just hang out with what's actually here right now. That's what you got. And can you be with what's here right now without changing, resisting, manipulating, controlling, objectifying, narrating, just allowing. And if you do that for a while, it's really interesting because you start to notice that move of attempting to grip, push, wrestle is where the pain starts. That's it. That's where the pain starts. But you're so used to it, and what you've been taught since the day you were born is keep wrestling and you'll solve the pain. It doesn't work. You've noticed maybe that doesn't work. But there is something that does work, which is stop wrestling. That's right at the source. That's the moment of pain is when you tense the thing. Tense. You're pushing, you're grabbing, you're controlling, you're manipulating, doing something to something. There's the pain. And so, because it's not right now, right? It's got to be different. And so if instead you have that moment of relax, not relax like I'm going to force relaxation, that's different again, right? I'm talking about you're doing something tense and you just stop. Now you're not changing, controlling, manipulating down it. You're just letting it be there. And something really amazing happens because there's a different level of, let's say, comfort possible in your being. That thing that's bugging you so much at the core of your being, like there's something fundamentally fucked up about me. There's something fundamentally wrong. There's something fundamentally unbearable. That thing, it's so weird because it's that idea that is the unbearable thing. If you give up that idea, the problem vanishes. There was no problem to begin with. Everything is fundamentally fine. Just to head off all the 95 questions, you can clean up the cat poop on the floor, right? It doesn't mean you don't change circumstances. It means in the moment of its there-ness, the cat shit on the floor there's nothing fundamentally wrong, right? That's perfection too. So can you, be for even just like a second with the total fundamental perfection of right now and you right now. This is a serious instruction. Right now, can you just let it be perfect? And notice if you're already like judging, controlling, changing, wishing it was different, wishing you were different, noticing what's wrong with you and what must, blah, 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 blah. Can you drop it for a fucking second? And if you can, then after a while you can drop it for 2 seconds. And then 4 seconds. Right? You'll learn fast because when you drop it, the pain stops. I like dogs and I like playing fetch, but there's like 3 kinds of dogs. Some of them just don't want to play fetch. Okay, that's cool. Some of them will go get the ball once and then they won't give it back. And no matter how much you grab that ball, they're chomped onto it and they won't let go. And then there's the other kind that's like, gets it that when they drop it, the play can start. They drop it, freedom begins, fun begins. It's effortless. Now we can play. All they had to do was drop it. Right? It's that. So let's all assume that we're not going to play at all kind. But instead, when you notice your mind, it's mainly just grabbing onto the fucking ball, and it's and it's proud of its ball. It's making sure nobody else gets the ball or whatever, right? But notice there's no payoff. You're just stuck grabbing onto the ball. But the minute you drop it, play can happen, fun can happen, freedom can happen, running can happen, all kinds of good stuff. So, the idea is with this meditation, notice every time you've grabbed onto the ball and drop it. And then fundamental perfection will play. Then it will start playing. Think about how happy a dog is when it's really into fetch, right? They just can't get enough of it because it's just so free and fun, right? It's got that, just, there's nothing better. And that's what it's like when you just drop the ball, because then you can play. Everything's just happening. And all your efforts to control it were just hanging onto the ball, right? And trying to control a game that was never yours to control. It's already perfect. You can't improve it. I wish we had the dog here again this week. That was a nice little guy. Okay, so questions or comments? Reports? Make sure you yell.
Okay. That was a really, well, it kind of started out with a bang for me because the moment you said to stop grabbing, I had a lot in my head and that was upsetting, and I did stop grabbing. And then it went right to emotion. And then I realized, oh, I'm grabbing on emotion.
Good.
And I let go, because the emotion was rather over, it was almost like, oh my God, am I gonna cry? Because it just flooded. But then I let that go very fast, and it was such a bit of identity shattering, I don't know what you would call it, but just no self, or just a little nothingness, or, yeah. And
fundamental perfection.
There you go. And so it was, like the rest of the meditation, I was just writing the stop and grabbing, and it was mainly thoughts or whatever, but it was very powerful for me as an instruction, because I think I do tend to, well, who knows what I do, but it was great to do today, to keep stopping doing this holding and grabbing, and loved it.
Excellent. Yeah, it has a real quality of freedom, right? Spaciousness, openness, freedom. And even if a lot's going on, there's peace in not resisting, right? It can be really wonderful. Awesome. What else? Yes?
So, in this practice, do we let torpor take over?
That's one of those questions where it's like, well, it depends. But I would say if you want to get fully into it, there's a few instructions just because we're doing it as a practice. When you're like in a meditation room doing it as a practice, you don't move, you sit up, keep yourself still, and you try not to go into torpor. But every other part of the day, you let whatever happens, happens. Can do an even more expansive version of it. So because of the context of a meditation hall, there's minor exceptions. Amanda?
Maybe kind of related to that question. I was having a hard time because one of the things you said was even concentration. If you notice that you're grabbing onto concentrating, drop it or don't grab. And so I was just continuously getting into a struggle with how can I let my attention still be bright and vivid without concentrating.
It turns out that awareness itself is bright and vivid. That's its fundamental quality, right? And so it does not have to be narrowed into attention. It's just bright and vivid on its own. And it's grabbing onto other things that usually reduces the vividness or scattering out or whatever. But again, in this is not a Vipassana meditation. So that kind of need to have it be bright and vivid, you let go of that. And you just stay with what's happening. Now, if you've been concentrating so much in meditation that your mind keeps being concentrated without effort, then stopping it is actually resisting. Now you're struggling, right? So if it's inherently just keeps focusing and just let it do that, but with total relaxation. There's no attempt to help it to concentrate, right? But you don't want to get involved in a struggle, concentrate, not concentrate. It's just the most relaxed state of openness. And if it happens to be doing some concentrating because you've been practicing that a lot, fine.
What is grabbing as opposed to if I just notice a thought or a body sensation arising in awareness? I notice it, but that's not yet grabbing, and then at what point is it grabbing and needs to be relaxed out?
If you want to do an interesting meditation, just keep asking yourself that question.
That's kind
But
of
I mean, do it now for like 10 years. What is grasping, right? So let's go back to Buddhism, like not even 101, Buddhism 99. What are the Four Noble Truths, right? There's suffering that can happen. Suffering's caused by what? Or clinging, grasping, right? That's a better translation. You're grabbing onto stuff. There it is. It's not even like, it's not some super arcane, it's right there like kind of in the front page of the Buddhist Bible, Like notice when you're doing that and just let go. That's it. So it's a complicated, deep, blah, 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 but like just notice when you're grabbing on. And if you can, relax. So let's do it, everybody. We do this practically every week. This is the most important teaching I have, okay? You don't get to not do it, Antonio. Make a fist, make it tight. Now stop doing that. That's what I'm talking about. Notice that making the fist is the doing something. That's the hard part. That's the thing. Not doing it doesn't take anything. One more time, just for the densest among us. Tighten that fist. This is the doing. As soon as you notice that, stop. That's it. That is what I'm talking about. It is not complex, but it might be subtle. So you just keep noticing deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And as you do that, deeper and deeper and deeper relief is available. So it's a good question. Right? It's a deep exploration, but it doesn't really have like I can't sit here and say, well, it's at this point. It's more of like you just notice the tension and then relax it. But it does require some practice because we're all used to grabbing on, and so attempt to, for at least a few minutes, not do it. Just relax, quit tensing. And you'll see that a thing opens up. Like, what is your name again?
Katya?
Katya. Like Katya's second thing opens up. It starts to be really wonderful to just let it be. Just not be tense. See how good it feels when you stop tensing your fist? There's a kind of a, oh. And so as you do it more and more, it's like Pavlovian. I mean, you just start to want to do that more, and you get better at doing that more because it's a less painful state. So it's, in a way, that easy. You can just try it and then try it some more. And then as that starts doing that thing, try it some more. It requires maybe a belief, or at least like a provisional sort of like acceptance of an idea, which is that everything's the way it is right now. It might be different in another millisecond, but right now, everything is the way it is. So, to me, that's a pretty easy thing to accept. Yep, this is what it is right now. And so I'm not going to, think about it really, I'm just asking you to demonstrate the simplest level of intelligence, or the simplest level of wisdom, which is the way it is right now is the way it is. Right? Yep.
Does it have a name?
Drop the name. Whatever name you're hanging on to, drop it. What else? One of the best things about this is the freshness of things becomes revealed, because it's the hanging on to categories, the hanging on to ideas, the hanging on to labels and concepts that makes everything shitty and boring. I already know what a this or that is like. I have a label for it. I've already judged what anything that comes under that label is like. Therefore, I don't have to experience it. But, on a fundamental level, all labels are false. Right? Relatively, labels are true, right? This is a blanket. We can all accept that. That's a pretty reasonable label. But on the deepest level, no labels are true. Right? No labels are true because, words can just fall out of your mind. And you want the words to fall out of your mind, and the concepts to fall out of your mind, and the labels to fall out of your mind, because then you don't know what the next second holds. You don't know. You don't have the ammunition to write stuff off. And it turns out that without the labels, everything is super interesting. In itself, everything is fascinating. And it's just the labels that make it boring. And we hold on to labels. So as you're letting go of names, because I'm tight, you're letting go of labels, you're letting go, things get a lot more interesting. Because you're actually, it gives you the possibility, the hope, and the actual practice of encountering things for real, instead of encountering their labels. How many times have you been like, oh, he's just another whatever thing you don't like, and now you don't have to deal with that person. They've lost all identity, they don't, they're just some negative words, and fuck them. Don't have to think about them anymore. Turns out that that's, you know, maybe in a not such a negative way. We're doing that with everything all the time. It's just a blanket. I don't have to think about it. It's a blanket. Nothing, you know, the label has dismissed it entirely. But if I actually get in there and start staring at it, the words fall out of my mind. It's like incredibly interesting. It's deeply fascinating. And everything's like that, and everyone's like that. It's all incredibly interesting when you drop it. Drop the ball, the play begins, right? You can play. Everything becomes interesting. It all becomes fresh and fascinating. Not because anything changed. It was already fresh and fascinating. But it's just the screen of concepts that keeps it at a distance. Marie?
That was very helpful.
Good. Thank you. Okay, ready for 5 minutes of dropping it? This is the special bonus 5 minutes of fetch. Good. So, thanks for coming, everybody. I think there will be some messages from SFDC now by somebody.
All right, so, thank you everybody for coming out. We collectively are the San Francisco Dharma Collective. If you're new to us, we are entirely student organized and student run, and we are here tonight because of the generosity of our donors, of the donations that everyone in our community makes to keep the building here, to keep the lights on. And we wouldn't be in this building talking to you tonight were it not also for our teachers. And so we are very appreciative of the knowledge that they bring to us, because that's why we're all here. So we encourage you and ask you, if you have received benefit tonight, if you have received benefit from being in this space together and experiencing a moment of doing absolutely nothing. I don't know about you, but in my day, I don't get a chance to do that. Please donate tonight. You can find us online. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're even on Yelp. So check us out, like us, bring your friends. We have some amazing events coming up. We have Third Jewel tomorrow night. Saturday, we have the long-awaited for day-long sit with our very own Michael Taft and Tucker Peck. That starts at 9:30.
Yes, Tucker and I were in a fight about whether it should be 9 or 10.
Uh-huh.
And he agreed on 9 and then later cheated and changed it to 9:30.
Okay. All right. So 9:30 on Saturday. And we have a slew of events. Some nights we are double booked, back to back. So check us out. We have a calendar here. What else am I forgetting?
I think that you said quite enough and said it all very beautifully.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Bring your friends. Come back and see us. And thank you for being here.
A couple quick things from me. One is that, this is, like I said, we're kind of upping the difficulty level. So if sitting quiet for 50 minutes is too hard, there's an easier class. There's lots of easier classes. So don't be hard on yourself. This is just a harder class. Todd, how long do you make people sit?
Oh, it's totally variable.
Yeah. Any long stuff?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Can they move?
They cry.
They cry. Maybe not Todd's class either. But there are plenty of other classes that are maybe at whatever skill level of sitting people are at, and also that's his job. Yeah.
You did a 24-minute sit last night.
Yeah, see? Okay. And then the other thing is, starting in late June, like June 22nd, I'm starting at least year-long, maybe permanently forever, but not really permanently, once a month class called Death Sangha. It's just as creepy and fucked up and morbid as you could possibly wish for, and yet still completely Buddhist, but it will not be, sweet thoughts about afterlives. This is like, we're going to really engage with the reality of death, and in a very forward manner, right? Straight at it kind of manner. So consider yourself forewarned. And that's a once a month class. And I'd love to see you there. What's that?
What day is that?
Well, it's a Saturday once a month. I think that one's the third Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
June 22nd, and then it switches to, I believe, the third Saturday, right?
Isn't June 22nd the third?
Okay, then it switches to the fourth.
Yeah, so it's once a month on a Saturday, because Saturn is the Lord of Death. So I hope to see you there. Yes.
Okay, are these gonna be recorded in case we wanna be in it but we miss one? Or live stream?
I believe I will stream it on YouTube, which means it gets recorded, yeah. Okay? Except for the secret stuff.
Everyone's